Podcast for the people.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is one of my favorite intros. Welcome to Podcast for the People, man. You guys are not tuned in to episode 11. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Before I tell you guys what we're going to speak on, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, just so we get more interactions, more viewers, more content out for you guys. So
do it.
Feel free to do that for me. And thankfully, man, I have one of probably the most funniest guests I have so far in this show.
Chill. Don't say that.
I'm a gassy.
I'm a gassy. Expectations.
Yeah, I'm gonna set it. But listen, this is a spotlight episode. So this is probably the 4th episode I've done spotlight related. And spotlight just means that I'm trying to shed a light on like local businesses, local communities, local brands. And thankfully with this one, I'm actually a big fan of this one because they started just recently, kind of just like me. And honestly, the message that they're trying to give across to just the community is something that it's hard not to support. You know, positivity, good energy, positive vibes. You can't go against that, you know. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves really quickly. But I do have the founder and the co-founder of the Kinetic Vibe. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Natasha. Go ahead, Natasha.
Well, I'm Natasha, if you didn't know already.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, what kind of introduction are we doing? Is it just my name?
Yeah, so you could give your ad name. You could give, honestly, whatever.
Oh,
yeah,
word.
anything.
I'm down. All right. What's up? My name is Natasha. My ad name is Natasha Axiom. That's NATSHAXTRIOM. Sorry, I just cannot help the fact that I feel like I'm on a radio and I'm just having the best time. We just started.
I love it.
I'm 5 foot, I'm a firecracker, but I know how to keep it G, and I'm super excited to be here with you, Paul. Really, it's been a blessing to see you grow.
Thank you.
And for the support that you give us, too. So
I appreciate that.
And my partner?
Yeah, you already know. It's Jahaira on the mic.
Check.
No, we liking this so much.
No, but, at name Laque Enamora on Instagram with 2 A's at the end. If you don't know Spanish, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much. What you get is, from me, is like what you see is what you get. So exactly. I'm not going to really elaborate on that.
Hey, that's what I like. So really quickly with, before we get into everything, they are both, the founder and co-founder, like I mentioned earlier, the Kinetic Vibe. And what they do is they throw events for the community. I'm going to let them kind of elaborate on that as well. But before we get into their brand and everything, I wanted them to kind of, share their story of how not only did they meet each other, but how did they come, originate with this idea. So I'm going to let either one of them answer that. So how did you guys meet?
I guess I'll start it off. So like for most people who don't really know, we actually knew each other at a very young age, since like 6th grade, pretty much. And we were very, very close. There was a period of time where we lost communication, but we were always connected. You know what I'm saying? And ironically, we're going to touch on this, but like in 2020, when COVID happened and everything like that, I decided to join a program where I had a life coach. And so I did not know that Natasha was going to be in that program at the same time. And literally the first day that our program started, I see her and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it literally felt like, because for a while, for me personally, I knew I always wanted to reconnect with her, but I didn't really know how to exactly. And we didn't really end on no beef or anything. It was just kind of like,
Yeah, life.
But I just felt like it was just fucking weird. I was like, oh my God, like God did this. Like this is crazy for real. Cause I really, like we were really like almost attached at the hip, like when we were younger. Yeah. And it's even like that now. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
I'm
nothing
like,
changes when it comes down to that chemistry.
I'm like literally so blessed and like so happy that it happened the way that it did. And I really did not expect it. Like it was just amazing, to be honest.
No, I couldn't agree. No, like for real. En verdad. No, but for real, like we had you could call it a small falling out. And it's funny because in the midst, we both had thoughts of like, reaching out to the other person. When we finally reconnected, we were dying laughing because we were like, if one of us had just said something, we honestly would have reconnected. But like she mentioned, we both ended up somewhere at the same time, and we were kind of flirting with the idea of meeting up again, and we weren't really sure how to approach like coming back from a childhood friendship to now being adults.
But it was so natural.
You know, like we knew each other, but we didn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when we finally like linked up in person again, and it wasn't just virtually, and even virtually that felt natural. Yeah. But when we met up,
it was
in
like
person,
5 years didn't even pass.
It was like it didn't even pass.
I was gonna ask that. It was 5 years since you guys left.
Yeah, it was pretty much 4 to 5 years.
That is crazy. So okay. So and you know, for those people that don't know what a life coach is, because you mentioned that you guys joined the same program and you guys were under a life coach. Kind of describe that. How's that experience been so far, but what made you guys want to join the program?
So for me personally, again, this is around COVID time, and a lot of people had a lot of time to really sit and think, you know, because a lot of people got furloughed if you lost your jobs and just things like that. And so I found myself having a lot of free time in which I was consuming myself with my own thoughts. And that's not always the greatest, especially when you're not really expressing or you have like
no outlet.
Yeah. And so Yara, who is the life coach, shout out to Yara.
Big shout out to Yara.
Yara,
if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have reconnected. So I always tell her that, like, I'm like, girl, you did something here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
She was part of my woman empowerment episode.
Yes,
like
the
third
like,
one.
Of course we watched.
Nah, like she's fire as fuck. Like, trust me. Like, if you need a life coach, just say.
Like for real.
Yes. But she was spitting gems on that episode like nothing, and I guarantee she probably spit gems to y'all. I mean, stuff that actually
we've learned like so much from her. So like, I actually knew Yara like from school, but we had never really spoke. Crazy, like on a personal level. So like the way we all connected was just really insane.
It was very like, and not even to be cliche, it was very like universe lining shit up.
No,
it was
for
literally
real.
crazy.
But that's how it is though sometimes.
Because we both knew her from school at some point. We didn't really know her personally, but even on IG, like before she became my life coach, I followed her, and I'm very skeptical about certain things and all that stuff, and I would really observe her, and I'm like, okay, I like the way that this person speaks, the way she kind of goes about it, the way that her intention is. You can tell it's a very like non-judgmental space. It's just more so like, how can I help you deal with you?
And that's literally how it felt within the program. So prior to like actually joining the program, I was just kind of like at a point where I was like, I'm done feeling like this. I'm done with this shit. Like whatever I'm choosing to like just like put myself through, because it's all a choice if you really think about it. You know, like if you are in a negative headspace, you're gonna make active choices to stay there,
of your
or
own shit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was tired of my own shit, and I was seeing that like Yara was promoting being a life coach and everything like that, and it was something that really did catch my eye, because I was like, okay, like I know that in a way I feel like I can connect with her, and I can relate to her, and I was very interested in that, and just really expanding on why I feel the way that I feel, and what can I do to improve, because it's never gonna stop, but you can always implement something that's going to improve the way you feel, how you see things, your perspective.
It could
and
be something
like
small
that.
too.
Yeah.
It can literally be something small that
So
like she just
small.
points out.
Just a shift in perspective.
Exactly.
Sometimes. Yeah.
So, you know, I hit her up literally on the first call. She probably won't tell you, but if you did ask her, like, I just started bawling, crying, and it just started rolling off. And that's how I was like, this is crazy, but I'm gonna fucking do this shit because it feels good. It feels right. You know what I'm saying?
And usually when you release so many emotions like that all at once, is because you held it in for so long.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes we can't confide in somebody because we think, not only do we think we're gonna get judged, but sometimes we even judge ourselves as we're venting. We're like, dang,
we're like rationalizing our own feelings already.
And I apologized to her. I was like, literally, I know we don't know each other, but I'm so sorry, but I had to, like, I don't know why I just did that, but it just happened, and she was so, like, receptive to it, and she made me feel safe in that moment to be like, it's okay to feel like what you're feeling, and we don't have to be close for you to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for your experience, how's that been?
I'll be honest, like I said, I'm gonna try to keep it as real as possible without putting my entire life out there. But I've struggled with mental health basically. I feel my whole life. My life's been, honestly, I feel like I could like write a book about it, but it gonna have to be when everybody's dead. So, and so, I didn't lose my job. I got furloughed. So, I was crossing my fingers, God willing, everything's great. And I was going to go back to my job. But I remember feeling like, okay, like I don't have, work isn't holding me back anymore, right? And so I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have so much fun now. And 2 weeks go by, I do all the things that I want to indulge in, and then I really sat there and I was like, I dreamed of not being able to work. Like, what am I gonna do to take advantage of what's happening right now? Yeah. And then at that time as well, I'm actually a homebody. I'm pretty good at having my own space. I really don't care, but I'm very extroverted as well when I want to be.
Of course.
But I was in a space where my mental health was declining like a bit more rapidly than I would have preferred. Okay. I had a lot more things going on in my life that were causing me dire stress, and I started to see the effects of what it was doing to like my body, my mind, everything. And so my family also has like a history of like health issues. So I started to really think about, I want to live a long, happy, and healthy life, and I'm not doing that right now. And what can I do to stop this train and get on a new one? Because if I keep going this way, it's not going to go very well.
And this is all 2020, right?
Or was let's say accumulation in 2020 was kind of like the cherry on top. So when it first happened, my body image was something I've struggled with really my whole life. So I took that time to focus on what I felt was considered healthy. Diets were just never a thing I really believed in. I believed in sustainability and something that's going to carry you in health throughout life. Yeah. And I kind of struggled with finding myself in that way. And then I did, and I felt great about it. I was committing to it. I could tell I was serious about it. And then we speed up, and then again, just my mental health just was not catching up with the physical health I was progressing with.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then I got to a point where I sat down and I was like, I need help, because if I keep doing this, like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. So I had been peeping around Yara's stuff, and her and I would have conversations, and then we had our first meetup, and I was a bit reserved. Again, I'm a little, I can think pretty logically. I'm very logic-brained. So for me, I'm like, let me feel this out, because I don't really know if this is like money stuff. Is this worth it? Yeah. And once I was in a space with her, I was like, all right, like this person, I can tell that there's something here that feels a little meant to be. Yeah. So I jumped into it. I met an amazing group of women that I tell you, it really is.
Shout out to Kim, Crafts by Casey, if you don't know. Custom made t-shirts.
Yeah, for real.
Just saying.
And we went through trenches together. And if there's anything that I can really take away from that experience, and having a life coach in 2020 being difficult really for everybody, but for people to have the time to really sit down, assess their lives, and choose to do something about it, I think a lot of people were starting to realize that's what they wanted to do. So out of that came beautiful conversations, amazing accomplishments.
Felt like a sisterhood.
It was a support system that I don't think any of us ever really imagined was possible. And it wasn't fake. It wasn't phony. You didn't feel like it was on paper. It was very raw. And I absolutely 150% to this day will say that choosing to have a life coach, whether it was Yara or not, was the best decision I made for my life. Yeah. Because it allowed me to at least take the baby steps to change my life, and I knew that it was God who was doing that for me, for real. Whatever you believe in, just the universe was working its hand, and I was taking it. I was like, all right.
And you didn't ignore the signs too, because see, a lot of people, we get into this overwhelming space where we just get overwhelmed with everything, and we tend to push people away, and we tend to not want to meet new people, and we tend to just kind of close ourselves off, and a lot of people did that. I personally did that in 2020, because as you guys, I don't know if you guys know me as long as you guys have known me, but I'm a very, very social person, and I love going out. I love having fun, and 2020 really, it kind of exposed my social anxiety that I thought I never knew I even had. I think it was random, because it wasn't with my friends, but it was when I started going out again, and everything was not getting back to normal, but everybody was trying to get back to normal. Man, I realized it so bad. I was like, wow, I don't feel comfortable in group settings that much anymore. And I had to adjust to that. And instead of adjusting in the way of trying to figure out what it was, and maybe surrounding myself with better people, I was just nah, let me just be myself. Let me just be alone and just
it can be really easy to hide behind what you think it is instead of facing it and trying to help
exactly.
yourself
But I'm proud of both of you for honestly not only getting through like, you know, getting through all those issues that you guys were going through, but for giving yourself the opportunity to fix it. And
I think that was ultimately, I think by the time we had gotten to the program, and it was like day one and we spilled our guts, a big thing that I said was like, I just don't want to keep living life like this anymore. Like this cannot be
something had to
life
give.
And we were all in agreement, like I said, Kim was also in that group as well, which was actually very ironic as well because we all knew each other. Like we all went to school together. I knew Kim. Kim's worked with my brother. She knows, you know what I'm saying? So we were all like connected. Crazy.
No, I'm telling you. Crazy.
Prior, but back to what she was saying about the life coach. Like I feel like even if it's not a life coach, if it's actual like therapy, like it's whatever is comfortable for you, whatever works for you. Yeah. Because not everybody's like path to healing looks the same
at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
You know,
your support group could very well already be the people who go out of their way to show you how much they care. Exactly. And it just takes that initiative saying like, hey, I really need support. Let's maybe like meet up a bit more often so that we can have this. I think it all comes back to we feel judged or we maybe don't feel like we have a safe space. And I'd like to add in there that I really feel like men deserve a space like the ones that Yara provides. Yeah. I feel like life coaching right now seems a bit more female dominated, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad we out here pushing the game. Yeah. Period. But I really think that in general, you know, men, and we could do this on a whole other day, but I'm gonna just drop this right now. I think men are put on this place where when they have dialogues together, there's already prejudgments. You know, we have all these stereotypes or like, you know, you might make fun of a guy because he's into something that you think is not necessarily manly and you know, there's not enough spaces where we're having conversations to point out that men are not allowing themselves to create the safe spaces, and we also might be perpetuating that cycle as well.
To be honest,
I mean,
I don't think women are. I don't think that
like,
we are collectively making a strong effort to give them those spaces where they feel safe.
I think if anything, to be really completely honest with you, like from what I'm seeing, I definitely think it's a little bit harder for men to open up a little bit. Yeah. But I can't say that men have some accountability in that too, though. Like I think a lot of men now, especially like they just feel like they're more prideful now than ever too. Like I don't know what it is, but I think there's a reason behind. Like you said, I think it comes down to both sides.
It comes down to both sides. Things that we perpetuate, right? We could talk about society norms and all of it. Like we could talk about that all day, but at the end of the day, when we really realize it's. If I saw the impact that it meant to have literally like just literally a community this small that was able to, I don't know, help me have some tools to get out of my shithole, then, you know, imagine if we could start more dialogues where men had that same space. And just to kind of tie it into the background and the intro and how we met, we obviously met in a way that I feel is like, what is it, supernatural, I guess you could call it. And the timing and the way that we've been able to come into each other's lives has... I don't know. I just feel like we really push each other to be really better.
You already know I be crying.
Yeah, I know. It'd
so
be crazy.
Don't even start.
I really believe everything happens for a reason. Nice.
And personally, this camera's still running too.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm gonna let it run for like 2 more minutes. But I do want to say that Yara, because it's funny. You know, I don't want to just to kind of transition. You mentioned that Yara obviously she made a big impact on both of y'all. Yeah. And ironically, it's funny when I first met Yara and we were doing the woman empowerment and we talked about just everything what we were going to talk about in the podcast. She mentioned to me that she's a life coach and that her clients, and she mentioned you, and she said, I'm actually trying to, she said, I'm actually helping my friend, but she didn't want to say your name for privacy reasons, but she was just like, to start her own community event that she wants to do. And then I was like, oh, like, I didn't ask who, but I was like, I just kind of was like, wait, but I know somebody that, like, I think at that point you just put it out.
I may have just put it out.
And it was like, I was like, are we talking about the same person? I was like, maybe not. And then later on down the road, I've come to find out that you are one of her clients. And then it was you. And then now the Kinetic Vibe, that's when everything started.
Absolutely. It all played a big part. Everybody really made a piece of it.
She really encouraged us
to
just be like, bro, like if you want to do some shit, just do it. And if it don't work, it didn't work.
It just didn't work.
On to
And
the next.
that was something that to me, it just didn't occur to me. Like, nah, no way. Like, I got to make sure I'm a planner and nah, like, I need to have this and I need to do this.
I'm very like,
yeah.
I'm a bit controlling, a little bit, and I thrive in stability. So sometimes it prevents me from actually taking risks and really going out there and trying to figure things out, which I'm now doing, which I will say is a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's liberating and very kind of like
empowering, really.
I could breathe. Like, okay, like failure might be there, but what if I succeed?
But I still gain
though?
something out of failure. And, and that's what I think is the perspective shift is out of failure, I still gain something. I might not be getting exactly what I want, but I mean, we don't always get what we want, but what we want is not what we need. And sometimes what we need is to make the decision, make the mistake so that out of that, whether it's negative or positive, we are gaining something. And
always remind yourself that like you're always gonna gain something.
Like I'm calling myself a founder now. Like,
but you just gotta shift. You gotta shift. I know that. I know.
It sounds crazy.
I don't even like saying it because part of me is like, damn, like chill. But in reality, like I really came out here. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it. So
and you did it.
And that was very unlike me. So I like this side of Natasha.
Yeah, and she shifted. She just shifted. All it would take was a little shift of like instead of thinking of like what if things go wrong, all you had to do is what if things go right, and that just makes a big difference alone right there. If you just go from that mindset to that alone is just gonna take you farther with anything you want to do. All right, so you guys mentioned that meeting each other was one thing. Y'all came across each other through y'all live program, and then Kinetic Vibe. So like obviously I know that Natasha, I know you probably came up with the idea, but what obviously made you guys want to work with each other about it?
I guess I'll start. While we were in the program and she was expressing this, I was just like, what the fuck? Yeah. Why didn't I think of that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, like I fuck with that. Like that actually sounds like a vibe. Like, to be honest, as I've grown older, like, and this is no shade to anybody, you like what you like, but I personally feel like the party scene every weekend or whatever the case may be, or however often it's happening for some people, it just wasn't really my vibe. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I'm not open to it, but I'm not always on
how
that.
To throw it down.
I'm gonna touch on that too. That's something.
Yeah, like I'm not always on that. So like when she brought that up, I was like, okay, that's very different. It's close. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So she had brought it up and all of that, and she was talking about it like during the program, and then she was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just do it. And so like she had released her announcement, and at this time, she tells me like, bro, I just released it. I don't got a venue. I don't got shit. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Right? So like we're sitting at her house, because we're always like chilling at her house, sitting at the kitchen island, and I'm looking at her like in my mind, I'm like, I see what you're trying to do, but you can't do this on your own. You feel me? Yeah. And I really respected what she was trying to do and the direction that she was trying to go. Because I really would have.
Like, she knew me. I was like, I'm really about to do this by myself. Like,
so
we all want to because we're perfectionists.
Literally. So, we're sitting at Kitchen Island. I'm like, I'll help you with whatever you need. Like, just as a friend, I was just telling, like,
there's no intention in there. She was
there was no intention. Yeah. Whatever. So I was like helping her put things together, throwing some ideas out there. And then, a couple of days before the event, we're doing our shopping for like, our little goodies and stuff. Yeah. And she looks at me and she's like, Jay, like, if you really wanted to like do this like for real, like I would love like if you would just like come on board. And
don't even, that's not even how it happened, bro.
What do you mean?
It was the day of the event. It was like a romantic moment. She don't remember our romantic moments.
All right.
But
you
let
guys
me touch on the romantic moment. Because clearly I'm having like a lapse in time.
But you remember obviously working. Pretty much you guys were partnered to do it together. Like, it was just y'all two, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw it in.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm already go. I'm gonna throw it in.
Go.
So we're in the program, and the thing is, Kinetic wasn't even like where it was at. So really, what I wanted to do was just get a group of my friends, because we're all very artsy and we like music. And I was like, oh, it would just be cool to like rent a place and like do like have a mic up there and all of our friends like have a jam session, because I'm big. My brother-in-law's a musician, so I'm like, bro, I love jam sessions. Yeah. So I was like, okay, what if I had like a big jam session? That was kind of like my goal. And so I was like, all right, okay. And I kept saying I wanted to do this thing. And I was like, I'm not even able to do this. Like, with what money? Like, with how? Con qué? Yo no sé. Yeah. So I sat there and I was like, all right, I am going to first figure out if I can even have a place for this. So my friend Kevin is a b-boy, and there's this
shout out to Kev.
Shout out to Kev Cass, the Ghoul Squad. But I've gone to his b-boy stuff, and the studio was like close by. I loved the way it was like set up. It was like just the right amount of space. I was like, you know what? I wonder if they just rented out to good old peasants out here. So I messaged them on IG, and I was like, hey, like, do you just, and they were like, yeah, and they were like, so what it would be for? And I was like, well, I'm thinking kind of like an open mic, nothing crazy. And they're like, oh, we'd love to see that in the community. We'll like do it for a discount. So I was like,
period.
What? Say less. So I took that as a sign, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna book it. Mind you, I had no flyer. I had absolutely nothing. All I did was book a venue. And at that time, like beginning of that year, I had learned how to do acrylic nails, and I had learned it pretty quickly, and I was doing a pretty decent job. So I had some clientele at the time. And that was the first month that I had so many clients that I was able to pay for the venue and the DJ without it being out of my own pocket. Mm-hmm. So when I tell you the universe, God was really like, I don't know what was happening, but it was literally, I had almost no obstacles coming my way. It was really insane. It felt very eye-opening, and I was like, okay, like I have enough money to pay for everything. I don't have to do anything out of pocket. And I looked at my husband, and I was like, I ain't got to pay nothing out of pocket. I don't want to hear nothing, you know? So I was over here like, okay. So once I got the DJ, and she actually reached out to me, shout out to DJ Vicari.
You already know.
But she came out to me and she's like, hey, do you have a DJ for the event? And I was like, you know what? Surprisingly, I don't. And I'm over here planning a whole event where we need mics and stuff, and I don't even have a DJ. And she was like, are you serious? I was like, so you reaching out to me when I'm telling you is divine timing, because I was just talking. I'm telling you, I had almost no obstacles. Things were literally falling on my lap. And I had just gotten a promotion at work. Like, bro, it was a lot. I had a lot of good things happening at one time. I was getting really scared.
Super inspiring.
And then, so I was like, all right, I got a venue, I got a DJ. Now I know that, so I'm gonna make these flyers. So I go to my laptop and I pump out like that entire night. I was like, I don't even know what I want this to be called. So the day before, I had woken up to meditate. I know, what a corn, right? So I woke up to meditate.
It's not corn.
It's not corn, but like the way I came up with the name is a little corn for me. Yeah. So I'm here and I'm meditating, and I get on my meditation. I'm like, damn, like I had a creative journal at the time along with the regular one. In my creative journal, I was like, man, I really want to do a jam sesh, but like, what would I call it? What would I call it? And then I kept thinking about like energy, how I want it to feel good, how I want like people to feel like it is safe. Like I really wanted to create like what felt like an almost tangible energy for people to really feel like this is not gonna be your typical open mic. I had gone to open mics, and again, no shade, like I think it's amazing that we have this, but I wanted it to look different. I was like, this is not, it's not a jam sesh vibe, and I want a vibe, like it's gotta be different. And then I was like, what are the types of energy, right? We have kinetic energy. We have all kinds, right? Yeah. And I was like, kinetic. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's the energy that sets other things in motion. When you kick a ball, that's kinetic energy, right? Like when you punch somebody's face and you knock their teeth out, that's kinetic energy.
Good example.
I know, I'm like real tiny, but I don't fight nobody, okay? And so I was like, that's exactly what I want to do. I want whatever I can to do in this space for other people, to allow them to set themselves into their own creative space, to allow them a space where they could really like be themselves, showcase what they want, but feel more, not necessarily as part of a family, but yeah, technically that, like that we feel that we have that kind of
I feel
culture.
Like we've
there we go.
that,
That's what it is.
Be honest.
It's kind of, I want it to build a culture, like a movement, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like
no, for real.
Kinetic energy, and take kinetic out of the way. It allowing other people to set their creativity and light them up in a space where other people appreciate exactly what they do, and trying to do it in a way that was diverse. I didn't want it to just be an open mic. It just didn't feel right to me to do that. And so, of course, like I told her, I had planned like something very simple. I was being real humble with it. I was like, no, like it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
I'm looking
I don't
at her
even
like,
know a lot of people are gonna come. Like, you know, I'm doing it, but I'm still like living in doubt, you know?
Yeah.
And she sat here and she was like, listen, Nati, I know you are not asking me for help, but I'm offering it. Because I was already doing a lot of things by myself, and she would call me randomly because I wouldn't ask her. She'd be like, I can come over and I can help you with that. And I was like, only if you want to. So like, she would come over.
I was just really like,
because you were supporting. I mean, not even just supporting her, but you were a fan of what she was doing.
Yeah, I was a
really
fan, and then like she'll tell you like, I'm like, listen, I'm not about to have you out here looking crazy.
Nah, she
like,
cared about my name, my integrity. Like, if her intention from the get was very much like, I'm not about to let you do this and everybody thinks that it's not good. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that whatever you show out is up to your standard. And so she would come over like every single night, and literally we would spend hours like prepping. We hand painted all the signs. Oh my God, Yara
we
and
definitely cut a lot of corners.
We cut a lot of corners.
Okay.
I had a limited budget, y'all. I had $400.
We've made all of our events
happen
off of $400
with a $400 credit card.
But that just shows everybody watching that like you don't have to have a complete
you don't have to have mad money.
Front to back plan. One, because you obviously like you knew what you wanted to do, but you didn't have obviously like
I didn't plan out what I was supposed to do.
Exactly.
I basically was like,
you went out it. You just did it.
I went from something that was supposed to be just small and a jam sesh to like next thing I knew I was literally event planning, and I looked at Jane. I was like, I think this is a lot bigger than I even was trying to.
We were literally in Walmart with our Coronas in our cart, like, bro, I think we're like event planners now. Like, this is fucking crazy. And I was like, and I'm having so much fun doing this.
No,
like,
it's crazy. And it was through that experience and the way that she, I don't know, just the way that she carried her integrity and how much she really cared about me and what I was doing. Day comes of the event, you know, we've been staying up all night, pan painting size. Kim and Yara come over, and they're over here like literally spending hours putting little fish wire on the thing, like all the greenery we bought from Amazon, like little tying it all on their own. Like we were doing everything that we could to make it work in our budget and still make it look good. Because like, period, it wasn't gonna look whack. And that was crazy. My sister-in-law, shout out to my friend Rosie. She volunteered to make empanadillas for us so that we could have a hot food option, and I was like, bro, make some money off of that, like, sell your thing. And so it was like a lot of people who out of just love really came out and was like, nah, like, we got you. And I was like, God, I feel so blessed right now because I really thought that I would not be able to do this. And we just talked about this. I was like, I would not have been able to finesse and do the things that I did if it were not for someone who really like had my back and did not ask for anything in return. And I thought that was insane. It was amazing. And so first event comes around, we're over here to the dot of the minute, putting things where they need to be and packing the car and put it. And we were like, we don't know what we're doing. All by ourselves. We packed the car by ourselves. We unpacked by ourselves. When we got there, most of the time we set it up by ourselves until our friends finally showed up, and then we got the ball rolling. Vendors started coming in. We had our waivers. Like, we had a whole system, and you know this, but
that's probably one of my favorite parts about your events.
We're very organized.
Showcase. I love that little vendor. I love that vendor.
That area.
We had to throw that in there.
And shout out to Huhoh Studios because they really gave me a space to feel like it could be a home, even if it's just for now while we're in this process of growth. They're providing us a home to be able to execute this for the community. So it is really insane. And then the first event happened. And I had sold only 6 tickets online, I remember. And I was like, shit, I don't know who's going to come up.
She was so worried. And I was like, it's going to happen, bro.
I was like we're going to plan for 100. No matter what, I'm going to plan for 100. Because between the performers who had signed up, mind you, let me say that. I put the flyers out. It's, again, this is like a new IG, like nothing crazy. I got my vendor slots full to the point where I had to make a wait list for the next one that I hadn't even planned yet. Okay? Like, wasn't even a thought in my mind. I'm over here like, let's see how this goes. I had the entire performance list was full, like everybody who signed up to be a performer there, because I do scheduled shows and then I have an open mic hour, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but we did that and everybody showed up. Everybody did their part. Even those who didn't show up, we had a roster so full that it wasn't even noticeable. Didn't affect anything. All the vendors showed up with their absolute best. The traffic that they got, like those vendors really got an opportunity to make some money. It was really fun.
You were an amazing host.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
Amazing host.
And it's, you know, and I most of my career involved a lot of public speaking, and I did that also growing up. So it felt a bit more comfortable for me.
Yeah,
I'm used to
natural.
making other people have to feel comfortable in big spaces, you remember.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was your trainer for a little while. So
Yeah.
I'm used to doing that. And so for me, it was very important. And I told her this, it's important for me that we have a culture where people really feel verbally, physically, and energetically that this is a space where they can really have a good time, lay back, still drink, still eat, but it doesn't have to have all these other expectations with it, and enjoying other people who are really expressing themselves in what is a very vulnerable way. And by the end of that night, it was the first time I had sang in public since high school.
Crazy.
What
And I
she
did not
wore,
see
down
that
to
coming.
what she wore, bro. Like,
It was
did
the
not see that
first
coming.
time I wore a dress in like 6 years.
Yep.
It was the first time I allowed other people to even take a picture of me in like 6 years. And so that night was not only like a debut of something I dreamt of, but it was like a big step for me to step into a place of confidence I never really had.
Yes, for sure.
And I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
But the energy, that first event was just something different. And I feel like if I could replicate the first one again,
For sure.
no, it was amazing.
No, it was amazing because it was my first time, the first event I went to, obviously, and then I remember, obviously, I came to support.
Yes, I know, I was
came
so
to
excited.
support, but it was crazy because I literally, I got there and I remember seeing some familiar faces, but I was still kind of nervous because I went by myself with Rosie. Rosie was busy helping you with
Yeah.
everything, so
Yeah.
I was literally just by myself with
Yeah.
Keem, and then I'm thinking Keem is gonna be by my
Yeah.
side, and then he's helping videographer, so I'm like, I don't know nobody besides you. You're busy. Everybody
Right.
Everybody
everybody I
was
knew was busy.
Run
Yeah.
around
So
with
I'm
their heads
like,
cut off. It was our
wow.
first
So
event ever.
I had
too.
to like pretty much step out, and remember I told you I had social anxiety,
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what, bro, like you gotta just go out there, like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I started meeting the vendors. Obviously started making some friends inside, and I was like, why is the energy so like positive?
know, it was
like
so
in a good way, in a
different.
good way. Like I
It's-
was just like,
it's
yo, this is really
crazy
good.
It was
energy.
so
we have
different.
been able to uphold that because really and truly, and not even because we're doing this, but I've never been in a space where I felt that comfortable, and it's
That's
not even
safe.
because it's our shit.
Yeah,
It's
no.
because
No.
of the people. It's because
No.
of the
The
intention
genuine-
behind it.
Yeah, the
you know,
intention.
like when I going back to like, I'm not really into the party scene really that much. Like I feel like in the party scene sometimes it's competition. It's who's gonna do
A lot
what,
of envy,
and,
a
and,
lot
and
of-
it's like, oh, who got this and who's doing that.
Yeah.
But in that space,
It does-
se
none
me
of that-
paran los pelos,
No,
like,
it was a
Yeah,
culture
none
of
of that stuff
safety.
matters.
Ooh,
And
man.
it was that first event really ignited that fire, I think, for both of us, because I really sat there and I was like, you know, God, who am I? But I feel so blessed that the amount of people in this room feel safe like this. Like we really started a culture.
we sold how many tickets? I think it was like
At the
60?
door, we like rotating. We had 60 people just in and out. And when I tell you, I hadn't even planned for that because we only had 6 online ticket sales. Everything else was in person. So that was phenomenal. And so the energy was so amazing. The end, like everybody stuck almost like past after hours,
Yeah, it was
jamming
fun.
together, helping each other clean. Like
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to
Nana,
leave.
when I told you blessed,
Yeah,
like
nobody wanted to leave.
everybody was there to help us, offer a hand. Like I remember her and I, when it first started and people are trickling in and the lights are dim. Because was something important to me was these open mics have like a big spotlight, and that it creates I wanted a jam session, so I was like dim lights, very low light. I want everybody to feel like they're in their room and they just want to like sing to their mic.
Yep.
But there's people here who get to like enjoy that gift, and so we're doing all these things, and the end of the night comes, and we're having a great time. The b-boys start dancing, like we have such a beautiful energy happening, and I really sat there and I was like, I cannot believe that we pulled this shit off.
We
Like,
literally
this is
went
so
the next day
crazy.
because I had slept over her house. We woke up in the morning, got crust in our eyes and everything, and still the first thing we're talking about is like, bro, we really did that. Like we
It was
really
crazy.
did that. Like,
And so at the end of the
Oh my
night, I had
God.
somebody pull me outside, and they had expressed interest. They were like, I've lived here my whole life, and we've never had anything like this in Kissimmee, and I just want to say that in the future, if you're ever looking for sponsors, I would love to sponsor you. This is the first event, and yo me estoy quedando aquí like, God, are you being for real right now? Like, this is a little wild. And then right after that, Jay's coming outside to bring me inside, and I was like, "Hi, this is my partner."
Yeah.
And I hadn't
oh
even
yeah,
formed-
that's how it happened.
That's why I told you it was romantic.
I forget. And I was literally like,
yeah, she came out to come get me, like, babe, we gotta close out the show. Like, you gotta close out. And I was like, damn, like, I gotta hurry up. And as she's coming through, I was like, oh, and this is my partner, and Jay's looking at me like, handshaking. And at the end of it, I was like, nah, like, officially, like, if
now
you want this, we're gonna do this together.
Exactly.
And she was like, I don't want you to think. I said, well, I'm not thinking nothing. Like, there is nobody on this earth who dedicated like the amount of time, love, patience, care. Like, it's almost like she cared about it like it was her own baby, and it wasn't. And I was like, that's what I need. I was like, that's what I need to make this successful. And she compliments me in like all the best ways. Like,
we compliment each other.
I'm very scatterbrained, so you know, I'm like, we gotta do all these little things, and she makes all like the best improvements. Like, what my ideas like are great, and then she like makes them better, stronger, more attainable, more structured. And I know it's on the cast, and I tell you in private, I am so grateful for Yara bringing us together. I'm so grateful for you coming back into my life. I'm so grateful for the encouragement that you gave me, because now we get to kind of build this together, and in a way Kinetic has like saved us. So after the second event, we looked at each other, and I was like, all right, like this could really pick up momentum. Like, let's really sit down and evaluate like what is it that we really want out of this? What do we want to offer people? Because I had so many ideas. And for me, a really important thing about Kinetic was that it was our core focus is open mics. And so since we do bi-monthly, it's every other month, that means like February, and then we have one in April, and so every other month. And I was like, all right, like bi-monthly is doable. It gives us time to really like evaluate how we want to treat the next event, gives us time to re-up our budget. And every time we made money off the event, and I was not lying what I said in the first event, like 100% of that money just goes back into the next event. So
it funds itself.
It funds itself. We make no money off of this business yet. Sabe? Pero right now, and for us, it's really just about community, and it's going to continue to stay that way. We have a few things that we want to like really implement, but it really changed, I think, what we thought our future might look like, and we still don't really know what that looks like. But when I tell you, if you would have asked me 6 months ago that I know what the fuck that looks like, right now I'm like, I told her, I said, whatever Kinetic is, it's our baby, and like we're claiming it right now. We're gonna have a Kinetic cafe. The Kinetic Vibe.
It's gonna be crazy
in downtown Kissimmee, because that's the homeland. We're gonna manifest it out loud. We're gonna speak it into
existence.
That's first of all,
because this is how serious we're really taking it. Like, we need a home base. Like,
I promise you that is gonna pop off, because nowhere I never heard.
There's nothing out here. Not even trying to flex.
What you guys do, bro, I'm telling you, what you guys do is different. It's different. And I was just to kind of elaborate on what you mentioned about clubbing, how everything nowadays everybody's either trying to stay, be a homebody, or just go out and go to the club or something like that. Like, we don't see
which is great. Don't get me wrong. We love a
it's
Sunday
always
fun.
We
love a good time.
We throw it down.
We're not going against that. There's nothing against that. It's more of like, let's have balance. Like, yo, like this.
Like, we could drink, we could have food, but and even now, like, and we'll talk about our next one, obviously. But you know, just really thinking about, and we were talking about it this morning. I was like, you know, we're gonna have more events, and I know we're planning bigger things. Like, honestly, y'all, we got some crazy things, and I know that might be
ideas.
One of the things. I don't know if you're gonna ask the question yet, but about what's next. But we have a lot of things planned. And then yesterday I told her, I was like, we need a Kinetic place in downtown Kissimmee. We're going to speak it now, because that's going to be our central hub. And these events are just going to be also things that we can do outside of our central hub, because we really focus on open mics and creativity. It's not just singing. It's like poetry. You can rap.
You can do whatever.
You can do honestly whatever you want. A comedy skit, like it's really supposed to be open for anything. But you know, most people are music artists, so that's kind of how it picks itself up. And then and we decided that every other event that wasn't a core Kinetic Open Vibe was going to be a specialty event. So like our Christmas one is a holiday event.
It's a specialty.
We have. Our next event, we'll drop a little sneaky peeky, but it might not be this year, but we are already in progress and in works for a local fashion show. But we're really gonna execute it, like for real. It's gonna be something that I think people are not used to.
I feel like you guys should get
and that's really the point of Kinetic, is we want to allow opportunities for all kinds of artists and not just a specific kind. I feel like art has way too many ways that we really express ourselves. Like, it's through furniture, it's through clothing, it's through like the way you pierce your face. Like, you know, I know I'm trying to be extra right now, but in reality, art is really just expression in what you are putting outwardly from your body. And so limiting it to just like open mic singers was not what I wanted. I was like, nah, open mics are always just one focused thing.
Yeah.
And I was like,
we have other elements.
I was like, I want people to like be able to pay some money, get some 2 drinks for free, because I know y'all be going to the clubs paying $7 for a bottle of freaking
beer.
Heineken or whatever.
Beer, yeah.
I was like, 2 voucher drinks, and you could get some food for mad low, and you can buy some shit for mad low. Like, you know, it was just like, I wanted it to be affordable, accessible, safe, and from that, we've respect the mic. So we've got a culture going on. Like, people really carry that culture, and I've literally had people say, thank you for having something like Respect the Mic, because, you know, you really, we focus people without calling nobody out, without making anybody feel uncomfortable. Nobody ever feels offended when we're like, hey, y'all, like, respect the mic, let's bring it down, and everybody really refocuses to have respect. And it, you know, people are going there to be vulnerable, so a level of respect is necessary, and I think we really established that that's what we were about. And I think people really felt that, and I think that's why we've been able to be successful. So that we've only had 2 events technically?
Yeah, 2 technically.
We have a 3rd one coming. I know the field day didn't work out. We have repercussion plans for that.
We're going to make that happen.
You know? Paul, you and I have to speak.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. We're going to make that happen.
I have some ideas.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Like, we definitely have ideas, and so that month also worked out for us because we also had like other things going on, and so it was a nice break to reevaluate how we were going to approach things. And what's next for us is continuing these events, continuing to look at like bigger picture things. Really discussing now how we want to move forward with the way that we operate.
We really want to make this a business. Like, we're taking this very serious. It is for the community, but like, we're really trying to like make something.
We're trying to do like pop-up events, teach financial literacy to the youth. Like, we're really trying to be involved in the community. It's just not art-wise. Like, we have really big plans to. We want to set the next generation, and I feel like they're already doing a good job at being accepting of people, but I really want these next generation people in their 20s to feel like there's a place for them where they're not going to be charged an arm and a leg to learn like what the hell credit is, what kind of leverage they have financially. We want women pop-up events, men's pop-up events.
We're just trying to do everything.
Like, we're really trying to kinetic culture, kinetic community, really setting things in motion, and really with nothing to gain out of it, but allowing other people to have it.
Exactly. And that's the intention, the purpose of what you guys are doing it for. It's not for the money, obviously, you know what I mean? It's obviously to make improvements to the community, mentally, physically, everything. And then this talent showcase, I think I mentioned that in notes. Like, that's one of my most like favorite things about it, because I know you said open mic, and I remember that was one of the things that I expected, and then when I seen that it wasn't just like poetry, for example, like it was like singers. It was just
we
like
had the
musicians,
B-boys come out.
we had the B-boys come out. Yeah, the
like,
holiday edition, we had some dancers come out and do a performance. So it really
it
is
was all types of talents.
Diversity
Very
was like the
inclusive.
goal, and it happened like really without asking. But our events, the core ones at least that are open mic, there's a scheduled show. So that's a limited sign up, and you have to sign up in advance for that, lock in your spot, and make sure that you're good to go, because we're going to really shout you out. And then we have open mic hour after that. So what it does is that scheduled show really creates a space where people can be comfortable and see what it's about, so that by the time it's an open mic, you already feel comfortable. You already feel like you want to come up here and sign up for an open mic, because you can see the environment that's there.
And actually through Kinetic, I have never done spoken word before.
And when you did yours,
No, she killed it. Bro. That
gosh,
was wild.
powerful.
So good.
When I look back at that video, like, sometimes I'm just like,
Who was I? Wow.
Yeah.
what? Like, Jay, what are you doing? But like, everything about that felt so liberating, and everything about that just felt like I just tapped into some shit that I really didn't even know I liked. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
First time
keep
I
a
sang,
lookout
and
for
I don't
those
know
too.
how long, and I almost didn't. My brother-in-law actually rehearsed with me, and he was like, "You're not gonna sing," and I was like, "I don't know, Hector. Like, it's the end of the show. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna do anything." And
She
I was
closed
like,
out the show beautifully.
and he was like, please, like, I practiced with you. Like, come on. Like, I did not come all this way for you to not do this. And I was like, man, estoy cansada. I've been running around. And I did it, and I have no regrets. The amount of love that came out of that room.
Crazy.
Girl,
When
you
I
had
was-
everybody's hair.
No, stop. Let's not gas. But that's it.
And
It was
just
amazing.
and just to transition, because I know we're running out of time. But what's next? So I know we have the DJ night.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's kind of like, so it's party vibes this time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're basically hand selecting a couple DJs to perform
A set.
a set for a certain amount of time and stuff, and really just show off their skills. And it really is no specific genre. Expect everything.
Everything.
You know what I'm
Expect
saying?
everything.
And so it's going to be very open. You know, we're going to be dancing, we're going to be chatting, we're going to have more vendors than we usually do.
Poppin' food.
We're going to have the
Y'all
poppin'
not ready.
food.
Yeah.
We have
The Lasting
Haley's.
Bite.
Yeah, the Lasting Bite, which is our savory. She's going to be handling all of our, like, you know, hearty, hot food.
delicious.
And then we have Haley's Cosmic Confections.
Bruh.
She is amazing. Let me tell you, I had the best fucking cupcake I had ever had in my life from her.
Yeah, we had come to a
specifically.
general consensus that it was better than sex. Like
No,
every time
like-
I had a bite of that cupcake,
I
I
need
had
that
a mini
cupcake
orgasm
ASAP.
in my mouth every time.
I was like, fuck it.
We were biting into it and I was like, oh man, this is so good.
Yo,
No point.
need that. If
But yeah, like, you know, we want to kind of do something very laid back, and we're also trying to invite other people. We're trying to
like a different, not a different
Include
crowd,
different-
but
The DJ night
Dynamic.
is, again,
Yeah.
is to showcase different kinds of
Yeah.
art expression, and
Exactly.
people do it through music. And I feel like, you know, you have our established DJs, we got our Orlando DJs. It can be a little hard to kind of get into a space when sometimes you just want to perform for other people,
Right.
and it not have to be a competition of like who's gonna do it what night at what club.
yeah.
And for me, it was like, you know what? Like, it'd be cool to have 2 or 3 DJs kind of like throw down a set that up and coming, you know, playing around with their sound that sound pretty good.
Yep.
Put it out there, people could dance. And listen, if y'all going to the club and paying the utmost, like, you're gonna have the best time with way bomber food.
Yeah, honestly,
Beverages,
you're gonna spend
vendors,
way less.
like
Don't
you're gonna
miss
spend
out.
way
Don't
less.
miss out. Pretty much don't miss out. 'Cause
It's gonna be
Don't
like
miss
a little
out.
mini
Yeah.
party.
For real.
April 29th, that's Friday, April 29th. Paul, I better have this episode out before the
Nah, for sure.
No,
for sure.
April 29th, Friday. Doors open at 8 o'clock, but tickets are already live on sale, ready to go. We get to you within 24 hours with your confirmation.
I guess it's also worth mentioning, since we're kind of running out of time, we have added an element to Kinetic that from the beginning we really wanted to, and I know that we both wanted to. I know we're talking about community, but now we're tapping into how are we actually going to
Being
help
active,
the community?
yeah.
How are we going to, you know, interact within the community and be a resource to people? So I kind of had the idea, and I was like, listen, let's make Kinetic care packages for homeless. Like,
Yeah. And we
have
had
so
already
many
always talked about helping the homeless on our own.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just made sense to do a Kinetic care
So
package.
I was telling her, I was like, listen, it don't
so
gotta
dope.
be nothing crazy. We can, you know, gather a couple book bags, wipes, water,
hygiene, protein bars,
couple pieces of clothing. We can go
Clothing.
to the Goodwill, $2. Like, it
Dollar
ain't
shirts,
nothing, you know,
yeah.
like, we're really, like, honestly, you guys, like, it hurts my soul when I see
people without-
people like
yeah,
that. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
And if we're doing this, like, if you guys could help us give back to the
That
community,
would be
that's
amazing.
literally all we're
Everybody
asking.
deserves to
Yeah.
feel clean, to have something to eat. You know what I mean? And so for us, this next event, we're gonna have a donation post. We're gonna be posting it on social media as well. But we're gonna have literally a pillar designated in the area that's gonna have the Cash App that is specifically, it's called Kinetic Cares. We're gonna be giving back to the community, so it's Kinetic Cares gives back, and any of that money, 100% goes to us buying the backpacks, the hygiene products, all the food, and then we're gonna go out of our way, hand it to the homeless, and we're really big on making sure that you guys see what we're putting together, what we're buying.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to put any of these people who are going through these hardships on camera. That's not what our intention is. Our intention is to give back in some way, even if it's not a lot. Like at this point, it's like if we only get enough donations for 2 backpacks, that's 2 homeless people who got protein bars, hygiene, shirts, and a freaking backpack that day.
Yeah.
And it's in the little ways that if we can, because I know we're still like learning to pop off. We're not still like, again, we're not profiting anything right now. So it's really important that if we give other people the opportunity to allow us to give back, that's kind of the point. We want to give not only to artists, but how can we start making an impact in our community? How can we start getting involved? Because we can sit here all day and talk about change, and if we can't be the biggest change, we can change little things. We can let people know that it is okay to be in the struggle, whether you want to judge why they're homeless or not, or why whatever
'Cause that's none
charity,
of our
whatever
business.
donation we choose to rotate it into, at the end of the day, it's about selfless acts. And I say this because I really believe in selfless acts. We should really be doing them, knowing very well that whatever they do with that is not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to treat people like people.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when we don't treat people like people, it's because we think that we are
We're above
above
them,
in
exactly.
some way. You know, it's like, well, I don't know if I want to give him something because what if they use it for crack? That's none of your goddamn business, to be
Exactly.
honest.
It's
It's
really
really not.
You did
The
your part.
important is that you felt it in your heart to give back, and whatever they do with that, only they have to, you know, live with that.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
not your responsibility.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
thank you. I
No,
appreciate
very
you for that.
important.
That's-
And
that's-
again, we'll
And
have
I'll
all
leave
the postings and all the
exactly,
signs
everything
and
will be in
everything.
the comment description down below, you know. So
Yes.
I'll make sure I leave that. You know, obviously with what's next, I know you guys have a lot of plans, so I won't try to ask for all of that. But we can, you know, just to before we wrap it up, I do have some Q&A questions for
Dale,
you
dale,
Okay.
dale.
that I wanted to ask y'all, and it's gonna be relative to like the message that you guys give across with the Kinetic Vibe. But one of the first questions I have, which they're like in order,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch the order up right now real quick. So, favorite zodiac sign? Because I think you're a Taurus and you're
I'm an
she's
Aquarius.
Yes.
For me, I'm not really gonna say that I have like a favorite right now. I mean, I have a friend that's a Libra, I have a friend that's a Virgo, I have a friend that's an Aquarius.
Just say that.
And
with
I
the
all
best.
like them for
Yes, just
you
say
know,
it.
I all like them, you know, in different ways. So
Okay.
I guess I'll say Taurus because I know myself the
Yeah,
best.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
Taurus
Okay.
all day, baby.
So I'm an Aquarius, as you mentioned, and when I figured out like my big four, you already know, y'all. You know, all of us be looking up our charts now and stuff.
yeah,
So
exactly, yeah.
I went
That's
in
the
and
thing
I
now.
looked mine up, and I had this really difficult relationship with Sagittariuses. I don't know why. I grew up around a lot of them. Shout out to my fam, but I grew up around a lot of them, and I was like, man, like all y'all drive me crazy. And then I looked at my chart, and I'm basically one of them. So Sagittarius
Okay.
is like one of my other favorite signs, and
Yes.
both of my signs are big on like freedom, individuality, self-expression,
Yes.
and acting a mess. And listen, y'all.
A little
I'm,
all of that.
I'm a little of everything. The only thing I'm not is mean. So, and I should really work on that, honestly, because some people deserve to be mean too. But I'm just saying that's the Sagittarius.
That's a Sagittarius for
The
sure.
Aquarius is like, but humanity is fine. So yeah,
Exactly.
Sag right now.
Sag, okay, I'll give you that.
Plus, they're my party crowd, bruh.
True.
If you're Sag, we're gonna have a great time together.
Sagittarius are fun as heck.
Geek,
man.
geek.
Sagittarius
We
I
are
should have
always
been
have
born
fun.
one at this
unpredictable though,
point,
low key
but-
though. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, which is why I love
Unpredictable.
them, because I'm very spontaneous and I'm half a Sag. And so.
And then this next one is one that I had to add because I know you guys with the life program, the life coaching program that you guys are in, and I just love that as a female collective that you guys like came together and just brought the confidence out of each other, brought the comfortability,
Yeah.
being able to show affection. For all the women out there that are watching that are seeking confidence, not only in like physical confidence, but that confidence to just be able to,
just do.
speak up for themselves and be able to like do what they want to do.
Yeah.
We're no experts, obviously.
Because we're all
Yeah.
learning. Everybody's
Yeah,
learning.
we're still
Yeah.
in this journey. But if I had advice for women who are seeking confidence, it's one, be open to a support system, and be
I was
open
literally gonna say
to
that.
be open to feedback. And criticism isn't really exactly the word that I want to use, but be open to feedback and be open to having support, because sometimes we can be like really stuck in a certain perspective. And when someone shares a different perspective, when we come from a place of defense or insecurity, we're not really able to absorb that support. We're not really allowing ourselves to be supported. And so my advice is, again, accept the support, allow yourself to an extent, practice self-reflection. Really
Yes.
think about why you feel what you feel when you're feeling it. Like, okay, I know the pasta upset me, but it's not really the pasta. Like, what about me internally is not allowing myself to receive that support? What about me? And it has nothing to do with anything being wrong with you, but it's like, we get stuck in cycles because we get comfortable, and any life coach will tell you that. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable in the ways that you feel secure in. It's okay to
Yeah.
not be uncomfortable and be the person who throws an event for no reason, not knowing what they do.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it in extremities. Do it in the steps that help you understand that this is achievable for what you are ready for. And you really honestly are ready for way more than you really know that you are.
Yeah.
You really are, and life has a way of really, I'm telling you,
she's
life
spitting
has a
facts right now.
really has a way of showing you that you are way more prepared than what you even set yourself up for. And if you don't have to trust it all the way if you're struggling with that, but lean into it and just be like, you know what, like maybe I will mess up. Maybe people will think that I'm a loser. Maybe people will think that I'm just all talk and no action. But at the end of the day, who cares? Because if you didn't follow through, it's because it didn't light you up enough. So start finding that thing that lights you up
and
enough.
go
And
for
if
it,
you
and
don't
don't
know
hesitate.
what that is, start dabbling. Okay, start dabbling because everybody can do something.
Yes.
You just don't know what it is until you allow yourself to be open to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And just to echo off of that, to be honest, like she said, I never felt more confident until I really surrounded myself around women who were supporting me, to be honest, because as a woman, a lot of times it can feel like we're all in competition instead of, you know, trying to work towards
the common goal.
the common goal, you know? And so when I surrounded myself around women who I didn't feel like were competing with me, or I didn't feel like were judging me, or whatever the case may be,
pushing each other's boundaries
I felt
healthily.
more confident to be my most authentic self, to say what I wanted to say, to be outspoken, to take up space, and it be okay.
Word.
And I will also add self-talk.
Yes.
Positive self-talk. Affirmations. Because I am one, you know, personally, that for a very long time, like, I think all of us are our biggest enemies.
Yeah.
You know?
Biggest
and the
critic.
way I tear myself up in here is really crazy. You know what I'm saying? So when you switch the narrative and you try to change that and be like, I'm not a failure, I'm a fucking boss. Like, I'm gonna be a boss. Like, I'm gonna take over, and I'm gonna do what the fuck I said I was gonna do, and I'm gonna be great at it.
Yeah, period.
Yeah,
I take that from the person who I didn't believe in self-talk. And again, I'm a logic person, so I'm like, how's talking to yourself gonna work? And there's like science like supporting this, guys. Like, we could literally rewire our neurons if we just take the time to really understand that our bodies and our minds are capable of so much, that it has nothing to do with power and everything to do with the fact that we literally are able to do magnificent things. And if we, you know, we have life backgrounds, people who have told us the opposite, maybe situations that we've had to be in to really, we had to be someone we weren't because maybe family depended on us. Maybe, you know, it wasn't the ideal situation. But when you have the time to really sit down and say, I want to break free from this, it also comes with facing yourself. It comes with owning all the things that mean what I didn't believe in myself, I've got to. Because if it really is the whole, like, if not me, then who?
No, sometimes, like, I have caught myself, like, in my negative self-talk where I'm like, but what the fuck have you accomplished? And then when I really sit down, I'm like, hold up, you done did this, you did this, you did this, you did
you gotta
this.
give yourself credit.
Like, are you serious?
But you also like, it's like one of those balances of like giving yourself credit, but also like reminding yourself that like you're not finished yet. And like all this stuff is like just a closer step to the bigger
Writing
picture.
it all down, write down your accomplishments of that month, and you will be very surprised what you were able to achieve, honestly.
Exactly. Little or big, it don't matter. Like,
because I think we focus on
the
impact.
Exactly. We want that. Exactly.
Yeah, like how big it's gonna be, and then it's not about that.
It's not about that.
Because at that point, you doing it for everybody else.
You're not doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're doing it because I want to make money, I want to be the most poppin', well then your intention isn't really like focused. Your intention should be in purpose. I don't care what your purpose is, but let it be in purpose. What is it? Be intentional. What was my thing that I was saying? I was like, on purpose with purpose, and I really believe in that. Do it on purpose and do it with purpose, because you're gonna gain something out of that regardless.
Exactly. And I appreciate you guys for giving that advice, because a lot of women need it out there, and not just women but people in general.
But that's men, women, I don't care where you at, where you come from, what you identify with. Understand that there is no one on this earth who's gonna be you.
And just be you. Like, I honestly have had the most fun being my true authentic self than in other times where I felt like I had to shrink myself in order to fit in.
Exactly.
You know,
and
like
we all learn through the trial error with that.
I'd be like, yo, I'm actually fucking fire, bro. Like, what you mean?
The other day I was in the car, I was like, bro, I'm hilarious. I will never admit that out loud, but now I can own it and say, you know what, I'm a little kooky, I'm a little corny, I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind. I do all these weird things, like swish my water before I drink it. Like, for real, when you have people who really just accept you for who you are, I don't know how many times I do something, Jay just looks at me and I'm like, you chose this life, you chose me as a friend, so like, just know.
Exactly. And just to kind of wrap it up before we do run out of time, guys, first I want to thank you, both of you.
No, honestly. Thank you.
No, seriously.
Thank you
for not only giving me the opportunity to interview y'all, but also just being able to be open-minded and open to just share what you guys have to share, because that shit and everything y'all said today could literally help somebody out there that's just watching.
It helped us, and so all we can ask for is that in some way, shape, or form, somebody feels inspired to pursue their own dreams.
Exactly. And for everybody guys watching out there, thank you guys for tuning into this one.
Thank you guys.
We're gonna have all the details of the next event of their next ideas, everything.
April 29th, 8 p.m. Don't forget.
Yep.
Smooth jazz.
And I'm gonna leave the contact information
I just can't help
in the
myself.
comment description. But again, I do appreciate you guys. Stay tuned in for the next couple episodes. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and if
Support
you guys
podcasts for the people.
already know.
Giving the
Yes,
people
sir.
a platform.
forget.
So let's gas Paul up for like 5
Thank you.
seconds.
That's what I appreciate it.
Thank you for all that you do, because you're doing something, and
Thank
we're
you.
really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
for
you.
real.
It's not gonna stop both of us. It's
Yeah.
not gonna stop from
Hey,
here.
nah,
It's just
all
the
this
beginning.
is
No.
It's just the
networking and
beginning.
continuing to push each other to do what we got to do. We can all reach a common goal. I think you said this on a podcast episode. Everybody's so worried about trying to one up each other when really we could be doing it together.
Uplifting each
So-
other.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I'm
for
with
real.
it.
I love
I'm with it
that.
if y'all are.
Yeah.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it. All right, yo, love y'all. Love y'all. Everybody, thank you for tuning in.
Thank
and,
you.
And make sure you guys subscribe too. All right.
Yeah.
Have a good day.